All right, welcome everyone to the Spoken Wheel podcast. We are here with episode number 6, if you can believe that. Amazing, right? I know we've made it to 6, Pete. So we have some great content for you today. It's going to be quite a fun show, but wanted to talk. I was chatting with Pete right before we started here, and this is the time of the year where my bike just gets nasty. I ride my bike for like 5 minutes or so, and all of a sudden that beautiful bike that I just cleaned and thoroughly is now full of rain and muck, and everything is all over my bike. So I was asking Pete, because Pete's the bike mechanic here. I was like, Pete, what do I need to do to clean my bike? Because I just spray it down. I'm like, what's the best thing?
I think that's a good start. Is just get everything off
just a
of it.
good spray?
The spray it down.
Okay.
Pretty much everything's sealed nowadays. The hubs are sealed. The bottom bracket headsets are sealed. So it's a little bit easier than back in the old days.
Yeah.
But spray it down, wipe it down, clean it off. I mean, you could easily use just like regular soap and water.
Well,
really.
like Dawn? Okay, really? Just like dish soap, soapy water? Okay.
Clean it all off, wipe it down, get it all clean. What I would suggest is even if you can, take the chains off. There's little links on there now. Take the chain off. At the shop I have a sonic cleaner. I put it in there and it just shakes it all.
High-powered stuff you got going on. All right, it's technical.
But
all right.
You can get one pretty cheap. You can buy one at probably.
But for the everyday, I mean, so for me, like I come back from a bike ride, I'm out on the road for a little bit,
yeah.
And if it's nasty, I'll spray it down, and I don't always use any detergent. Is that okay? I mean, I'm just spraying it.
Well, it's a start. Again,
okay,
it's a start.
Just
get it clean. I
feel like you're judging me a little bit here for not. Just a little.
Well, you see, you're wearing a match shirt.
We got the memo today. Look at us.
Yeah, but I mean, getting it clean is the big thing.
Okay.
Cleaning the chain is the big thing, and then lubing it all up. Using some lube, getting it back going again.
I know lube is like a really, it's a complex thing. People are always like, I'm sure everyone out there, you got your favorite lube. You go to your local bike store, and they're always like, you got to buy this one, you got to buy that. But like, honestly, I just like almost whatever I get my hands on, I'm just like, put it on the chain, I put it on like the moving.
I think the one thing to remember is not to use WD-40.
Okay, yeah.
Don't use WD-40.
All right, you hear that. WD-40, don't be contacting us for any reason because we're not using your product, apparently.
Not going to be sponsoring us.
Well, good. Well, at least I feel better now that I'm like spraying. You made me feel better. Like I was like, I got to be doing more. I got a fancy road bike, and I'm just like,
it is
barely. It's fancy enough, right? It's a bit too much bike for me, is what you're saying.
No, it's
okay.
A little bit.
A little bit. It is. Yeah, we can be honest here. We're all friends. Yeah. It's too much bike for me, but I appreciate it. That's good because I feel much better. Like I just won't use WD-40.
No, you still make sure it's clean. Clean the chain. Clean everything up. Cool. Wipe it down. Dry it off. And for the most part, you're pretty good.
Oh, and then when I need a sonic clean, I bring it over.
Sonic clean, bring it in.
Gears to you, apparently.
Yeah. Bring it in. I'll get the chain going, the cassette going. I'll get it all out.
Fancy stuff. All right.
Absolutely.
Well, good. Well, Pete, let's get into our guest today because I'm really excited to talk to these two.
I'm really excited.
Yeah,
about
this is going to be a fun one today. So why don't we introduce our guests here? We have Alec over here. Alec, why don't you go ahead and give the viewers a little insight on who you are and why you're here today.
So sure. My name is Alec Olson. I am 16 years old, and I started my own company, Spoke Cafe, with the help of my parents. We're a mobile tricycle that does root beer floats, and we bring ice creams. We do root beer floats, Nitro floats, and we just go around and do a lot of block parties.
Wow, that's really cool. So, Alec, how did you said you got started with the help of your parents. We have your dad here. This is Dan as well. Dan, we had a chance to chit chat before we started recording here today. Tell me, Dan, how did this, your son comes to you with this idea and you're like,
yes.
like, sure, go for it, right?
Yeah, this is an interesting way of how we got this all started. But, Alec was one of those Shark Tank kids. He just watched Shark Tank during the pandemic and really got into business stuff. And my wife and I are entrepreneurial, and so he would ask us questions about our business because we're doing business at home, and he's listening in and learning about what we're doing, and he's picking up a lot. All of a sudden, he's like, "Hey, have you thought about this?" Like, he's 11. How's he asking me? Like, yeah, we're working on that this quarter, So like, there's something going on here, and he would love to do lemonade stands and just really enjoy the whole process and get really excited when money would come in, and so we
money's the motivator, right?
Yeah, I didn't want to say the N word in the first 30 seconds, but he got pretty excited when folks would buy his products. So So we came up with this concept when he was, I guess we were discussing it around 12, but it was a year he turned 13. And so for us, it was an idea I had one time for an entrepreneur who did bikes, was involved in bike service and a couple other things, and also roasted coffee. And it was kind of a joke. Hey, you should do this. Here's this bike that you can serve coffee off of. And so when he came to us and said he got a little bit of money from his parents for Christmas, we said, well, we could put it in the stock market, which you've done before already at 11. So maybe we can do something different, you know? And so in this case, we decided, well, here's a business concept and you could try yourself and see if you want to try this entrepreneurial thing. And his eyes lit up and it's like, let's do it.
So you hear the word entrepreneur, Dad said you can make some money, and then you're like, you out to the races, apparently.
Yeah, it was probably 4 months from when we had the idea to when we got everything up and running. So I think we started trying to find a good place to first get a bike, and so we ended up on Icicle Tricycle, which is a company out in Oregon, and they do custom serving bikes. So they do ice cream bikes and just any kind of serving bike, like book bikes, any kind of bikes you can really think of. And so we reached out to them, did a couple phone calls with them, talked to a guy who had done kind of a similar concept back early, early 2000s he did it. And so he was like, yeah, loved it. Only problem was the bike kept breaking down and I have to wait 2 weeks. And Icicle Tricycle thankfully had all their bike parts are just like anything you can get in a bike store. So we didn't have to worry about that. So we put in that order for the bike. We started finding a bunch of people to supply us with the coffee. And so he ended up, my dad had Nitro cold brew at his office.
Oh.
So the guys...
Fun office.
Yeah.
It's a great office.
The caffeine really got
Yeah,
the sales team going.
Yeah, it's
It
really
was
sets the
big.
entrepreneurial spirit off correctly.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so we reached out to those guys with the idea, and they're like, yeah, we'd love to help you. So we ended up getting, they started filling our kegs for us. We got the bike probably in, I think, start of June. And so we did an opening day with all of our friends and family, and it went really well. People loved it. We had T-shirts, we had merch, and we sold out of that. We did really good on our first day, and it just kind of went from there. Yeah, our original idea was to, because this was COVID, you know, like I said, I was trying to get a nice summer job. And so our idea was that with everyone going back to work, that they would be just going to the metro station, like, you know, taking the train down to work. So the idea was we'd just show up and we'd start getting their caffeine fix, and then, you know, they start relying on us. And so we started with that, and that was pretty good. But when we got the bike, we got a CO2 tap added because, like, I personally do not like coffee, but I love the root beer.
Okay.
I love the root beer. The root beer is amazing. But we got the CO2 tap added for root beer. We're like, we could do root beer like baseball games, something like that. And so about halfway through our first year, we made a post on Oak Park Working Moms, which is a Facebook page, which like 4,000 or 5,000 people, just like the Oak Park area. And from there, it just skyrocketed to we just became doing all bookings, all root beer floats, nitro floats, which we actually came up with at our first block party.
Wow.
So I was like, what if you combine the nitro cold brew with the ice cream? I'm like, that's a pretty good idea.
Really amazing.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
so good.
We have a recurring theme, Pete, where we keep talking about food on every episode. It is like,
Did you guys bring samples?
yeah,
We should have actually. Yeah.
You won't be back then, alas.
Yeah, exactly. If anybody needs any help staying awake, we just bring one nitro cold brew or a nitro float, and you're ready to go.
yeah, I can imagine.
Between the sugar and the caffeine.
All the sugar, caffeine, yeah.
Unbelievable.
So how many events do you do? You do it mostly during the summer, obviously.
Yeah, so I'm still in school, so our season is basically April till October, to where it gets too cold for us to do events. But we probably did 60 or 70, I'd say, last year.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so we get really busy, and it's like I had a 14-hour work week in I think August, where we got booked from an event that started, I think, 7:30. And so for that, we had to make hot coffee. And so we have to get up at like 6. You got to brew it, because we brew it all freshly. We have
you do?
We actually have a whole coffee setup in our house where we have like an industrial sized grinder.
Wow.
That's
brewing
a
machine.
whole nother story.
We can get into that, but
Episode 8.
exactly. Coffee grinder. And so that one was from 6:30, and I got home at 8:30.
And now, you're going to school after this, or are you?
No, so
Is this during summer hours mostly?
So yeah, this is
that's
all
good.
summer hours.
We want to keep you in school, Alec.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
That was-
Education first.
Listen to the kids.
Exactly. All those kids out there.
Yeah. So our
books.
main day is always Saturdays.
Okay.
So Saturdays we probably have 3 to 4 block parties every weekend, and it starts to die down when it gets cold. We actually sponsored a soccer team, Riverwoods Youth soccer team, this last year for spring and fall. So that was our Sundays.
Amazing.
And so it's basically just Saturday and Sunday, and yeah, that's really hard.
That's awesome. So what is your range? Like, are you just primarily focused in the Oak Park area? Is that where you?
So yeah, what we found is even though we're in River Forest, Oak Park just does a ridiculous amount of block parties.
Very
A crazy
communal.
amount.
It's
Like
awesome.
we'll be biking to one of our events and we see 4 or 5 other block parties going on at the same time, which we really need to find a way to get to those block parties.
Exactly.
But yeah,
Time for a second ice.
Yeah, it might be.
Keep thinking about it. I know.
Dad, are you willing to pedal? Or?
Yeah, exactly. Like find a buddy at this point.
So yeah, it's been a lot of Oak Park, but we do a fair amount of community things in River Forest. So we're doing actually a bike swap in River Forest. Sticking with the bike theme in I think May. And so that will be, I think, a fun thing. And I already said the soccer team, but we do a lot of like teacher appreciations because I went to elementary, middle school in River Forest, and so I befriended a lot of teachers, and so they're very kind and hire me back for events just for summer school and also just Teacher Appreciation Week, which we last year brought in, I think, like 5 or 10 gallons of hot coffee and just set it up for them for the day, and that's kind of our...
So you're keeping the teachers caffeinated.
Yes.
You're giving them root beer floats.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's an element where your grades are phenomenal, right? You're pulling all A's, right?
It's no apples. He's taking it up a notch. He's
No
leaving an apple for the
apples.
teacher and brought
Root beer
them
float a day,
floats and
right?
nitro cold brew coffee.
I love it. It's,
I've tried that with my math teacher. She's so far not reciprocated.
That's not helping.
You got to try a little harder. Alec.
Exactly. I'll offer 4 drinks this time.
Yeah, exactly.
What's your teacher's name? Mrs. Smith? Where
Mrs. Watson, take the deal, please.
Well, that's really, this concept is so amazing. So yeah, maybe tell us a little bit about your bike. I know I'm really interested. You said it's like a tricycle in this specific company. Maybe walk. So everyone here that follows this podcast jumps on a bike, knows a bike.
Yeah.
You said all the parts are serviceable, standard sort of bike parts, nothing's fancy.
Yeah.
Walk us through a little bit about the bike itself.
So basically, it's just your basic tricycle, but instead there's just a giant box on the front. And so the box is kind of split into 2 different parts. We got a dry storage and we got our frozen section frozen, but that's where we put the kegs because we fit 2 3-gallon kegs in there, and it pipes it up with also a nitrogen tank and a CO2 tank you got to pipe up the drink somehow. And so that's in one compartment. We wrap them with like giant ice packs. So like these are like these big ice packs that wrap around the entire keg.
Wow.
Keeps
okay.
it really cold, surprisingly, for like the entire day.
Wow.
And
okay.
so that's great. And then the dry storage is where we have like our stirs, syrups, creamers, stuff like that. And so it has I think like 7 different gears on it. And it's hard to turn, I will say. When I first got on, we were doing about 6-point turns, just trying to get this thing out of the driveway. But we've kind of gotten it down now. But
special bike license just to
exactly.
operate
You're like,
this. Yeah.
whoa,
Exactly, yeah.
fall off.
Turns, we got to take at least 20 feet sooner. Just gotta angle that thing and just try not to flip.
Not curb like it's on rails.
Have you thought about the e-bike yet?
I have, but at the same time, like I feel like the novelty of it is like the fact that I bike it around.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a killer leg workout. So we got those 2 things.
We were a little concerned when you started this at 13.
Yeah.
It's like a 40, 50-pound bike.
Yeah.
Fully loaded with tanks. And I mean, those
like
tanks, the 3-gallon tanks.
110, probably 120 pounds
Exactly.
of everything loaded.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
So that was a big.
Yeah, so at 13,
worrisome.
we're like, maybe we'll pull this off, put it in the car, follow behind.
Sure.
We kind of actually do a front of the house, back of the house
Okay.
operation. You see it, bars and restaurants. And so my wife and I are back of the house. We're bringing the kegs, like the Tour de France car, support car, right?
So
There's no spare bikes on top of the car. It's not
yet.
It's not that crazy
Right,
yet. But so that helps keep some of the weight down. And so now that he's 16, it's a little, maybe we don't have to take as much off of it, but it's tough to maneuver. It can really be tough,
yeah.
but it
Brookfield
does
has
pretty
one similar for the library, right?
It's sort of like our local
Yeah.
library, for those who don't know, and purchase a book bike.
That's awesome.
And so they do something similar where they're they go around and promote, reading, and they have things like hotspots, and information. It's really cool. Linda Sokol Francis, Brookfield Library, amazing book service that they have floating around. So they do these amazing events, and so if I'm envisioning the same thing, it's probably I've jumped on the bike. It is not easy to maneuver.
it is,
I give you a lot of credit.
yeah.
All of us here who
Same.
ride bikes, when it's like, we're trying to get our bikes down in weight, where again, this fancy bike that I'm talking about is too much bike for me, and I'm talking like 17 pounds, and like, this is too heavy for me. But it's a 50, 60 pound bike. That's some serious machinery
Yeah,
there.
it is. I mean,
Yeah.
it was rough, I will say. I remember like our first day, we were trying to just like figure out like the momentum for it, and I couldn't even like get it over like the lip in our garage. We were like, this might be a problem. I mean, like 2 or 3 inches, and it's just like and we're rolling back down. So
That's when my wife and I looked at each other, we're like, I don't know if this is gonna work.
It's
You
not
can't even get it out of the garage. This is gonna be tough.
You had faith in Alec, of course, and it's all worked out.
It for sure. I mean, we did actually. I mean, at one point we looked at it like, the bike's expensive. We split the cost with him. We were 50-50 partners, my wife and I and him. But as we looked at it, it's like, that's a really big investment, especially for a young guy to make. And so is this going to do anything? And so the way we thought of it, though, is like educationally, this is awesome, right? So even if we don't make a dime off of this concept, he's going to learn a lot about sales, marketing, all those different types of things. And he has. And every year he's taken on more in the business, and it's been more than we could ever ask, to be honest with you. It's been great.
Wow, Dad, I mean, that sounds really amazing that, you're really encouraging your kid to learn. I mean, because, obviously it sounds like he's doing well in school, maybe besides math, you're right. It's an education, not only from the economics, but, his own, you're moving that bike and that weight around and just navigating around town, that's understanding where you're going from point to point and, having to be aware of it. That's really cool. I give you a lot of credit for all that.
it's Google Maps has become my best.
That's for sure. But no, I meit is. It's been great because he's getting up in the morning. Like if it were me at his age, my parents would be like, "Hey, are you getting up or what's going on?" You have some clients to see, right? Yeah. So he's up, he's doing it, he's broing it. Maybe not happy the entire time, but pretty happy, relative to what the average 16-year-old is thinking about at that moment in time. So it's been great. And like I said, each year he's been able to take a bit more. This year I think is accounting and
this
some more.
This year to me, social media, the financial books, and whatever more I have to do.
But last year, right?
Taxes.
Exactly.
That was last year.
That was last year. Taxes last year. Like that's an important
We're way
lesson.
past that.
This is got to put some into the pot for the government. But yeah, I think each time he's done it, it's learned a little bit more. Last year, client services and sales.
Wow.
So so for him to be able to talk to someone, negotiate, okay, I'll be there at this time. What do you need? All those different types of things. It's been great. And early on, it was, how does this email sound? And by the end of the summer, it nailed it.
Wow,
right? Really
very
kinda
good,
figured it
very
out.
good.
So it's been cool.
Well, that's amazing. We're going to take just a quick break. We're going to talk about one of our sponsors here today that have sponsored today's episode. So we're going to take a hyper quick break, and we're going to talk briefly about our today's sponsor. Today's episode is sponsored by Sage & Stone Apothecary, located at 3734 Prairie Ave in Brookfield. Co-owners Connie and Lizette combine their passion for natural magic and colorful expression to create a fun shopping experience. You'll find self-care items and gifts for positivity and well-being.
They also host creative craft classes and guest experts in the fields of tarot, Reiki, and numerology, to name a few. Classes, events, and hours of operation can be found on the website and social media. Sign up for the newsletter for the latest updates.
Go to their website, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok to find more information about news and hours. And again, Sage & Stone Apothecary, located at 3734 Prairie Ave in Brookfield. Thank you to our sponsors today. Well, welcome back to our episode. We're talking to Alec and his Father Dan here. Alec runs Spoke Cafe and outside of Oak Park. So we had a wonderful conversation with you earlier, Alec, regarding your bike, how you got started on this. But let's talk a little bit more about like what's next for you. Obviously, you got an upcoming spring and summer season coming here. So maybe tell us our viewers a little bit more about what you got planned for this upcoming season.
So actually, we have our first event on Tuesday at the Des Plaines Hospital. So that should be an interesting one.
Okay.
From there, we have a teacher or a spring fling in April, I think, at the Forest Park, one of the Forest Park middle schools. And we're about to open up our booking engine for the rest of any events that anyone may want. And we'll probably just go from there.
Yeah. So the website has a booking engine so people can grab calendar access and pick times and all kinds of things, something that Alec and his mom put together. I have no idea how it works, so don't ask me, but it's actually really pretty slick, something they added last season, and it's worked really well for people to be able to book some time on the calendar. And so it basically from weekends starting in April all the way through October for block parties, birthday parties, all kinds of events that people might want.
Amazing. Wow, that's really great. So you have a lot. It sounds like you already have some bookings on there, and you're going to continue this into the summer. And the website, you can find it. Are you doing private events as well, or is
any kind of event. So we really won't say no to anything. So,
hey, welcome to the crowd.
What do you
here.
say?
exactly.
Sure,
Reach out if you got anything you want. But
Right.
yeah, we really do anything. We've done a baptism after party.
Okay.
That was that was
really
actually one of
cool.
our most profitable events. Yeah.
Big root beer float sale.
Yeah, it really was. We've done birthday parties, block parties. I mean, going to this hospital, like really
Corporate events.
corporate events, teacher appreciations, really just anything that people ask us for. We're like, yeah, sure, we'll do it.
Sure, you're
Yeah,
doing it.
exactly.
So tell me. So you're gonna keep confined into the Oak Park area right now. Is there any room for you to grow, or is your model gonna expand outside of Oak Park?
No, so yeah, we're really anywhere within. We can bike it anywhere within 5 to 10 miles, but we've actually got a minivan last year to put the bike in the van, so we can actually go farther. So we can take off the tap and we can really go anywhere. So this Des Plaines Hospital, it's about 30 minutes away. So we're just going to throw the bike into the car and just drive it out there, set up, and just roll it in.
Do you park like a block and a half away?
Exactly.
You gotta get some cred with the biking crowd here for sure. Yeah,
Exactly. So we bike it. I bike it anywhere between 5 and 10 miles. So Forest Park, Oak Park, Melrose Park.
Just parks.
Anything with a park. Yeah, we do it.
Any
Exactly.
sides or
Exactly.
forests? No. Yeah.
So yeah, we really go anywhere people
Right.
want us.
Right.
That's amazing. So yeah, and your website is yet to be launched. Is that what I've
Actually-
heard? Or is it?
So yeah, spoke.cafe takes you straight there. And then we have multiple different pages on there. So we got our booking engine, we got our menu offerings, we got a whole bunch of pages.
Okay.
on there.
Yeah.
So-
And I'm assuming there's some social media aspects as well.
Yeah.
Are you on Instagram?
Yeah, we got Instagram, Facebook,
Not TikTok yet.
not TikTok.
Time to
I'm
step it
trying-
up.
I know,
mean,
I know.
Well, with the house passing.
Well,
Who knows?
yeah.
We don't know exactly.
Not gonna go into a
No,
legislative podcast here.
Podcast for another day, folks. Yeah.
Exactly, but just Instagram and Facebook right now, plus the website.
And are you gonna expand menu at all then?
We've thought about it. So we've done partnerships throughout the years. We've done Blackout Bakery. We did some of their brownies, which we ended up buying most of those. But those were some very good brownies, I will say.
What you're trying to say is you ate them while you're riding the bike,
Yeah,
right?
Totally
Like,
did.
I
Yeah,
need a
we
snack.
130-pound bike.
profits.
Yeah,
It
you
burns a lot of
profit.
calories.
Exactly.
We get it.
We're definitely
So,
the biggest
we've
customer.
done stuff like that. We've done partnerships with. We do a lot of partnerships with local people. Skona Lisa is actually a secretary at my middle school, and she just does scones. So we did.
Skona Lisa. That's a
yeah,
clever
it's
name.
clever.
I know. I
It
like
is.
it. Yeah.
Scones, yeah.
Yeah. And so we did some Sunday mornings with her, and so that was always great. We did some other things. We did some like chocolate chip cookies from whose bakery was that? And
Found a bakery.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I have a feeling that after this episode, you're gonna, some bakeries will be contacting you
exactly.
to partner. And if you do want to, reach out to him. This is a phenomenal product. You're seeing this, reach out to Alec. I'm sure he'd be happy to partner with you. Find it.
One partner we should definitely call out is Whirlwind Coffee.
So they do our own roast. It's the bicycle blend.
Ooh.
We've passed just a year with them with our custom blend, and so we also do coffee bags too. So we have these 12-ounce coffee bags you can buy on our website, $16 a piece, or $12 or $14 for a subscription. If you're interested.
Are you delivering the coffee too?
We do free home delivery within 5 miles, and
wonderful.
Then we just ship it out for anyone past that.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really good.
But they've been great to collaborate with. We were like, hey, we're thinking about a custom blend. For a 16-year-old business, we're like, we'll figure something out.
We went to a
David
bunch
and
of,
his team have been awesome to work
That's
with.
great.
Yeah. We talked to a bunch of different people, and David, after we started, was like, yeah, we'd love to help. We had other people who were just like, oh yeah, you can slap your label on it, but it's gonna be our thing. We said, and David was like, yeah, we'd love to. So we can start working a flavor combination, some tastings. We're like, perfect. And so
it's been great.
We haven't looked back since.
Yeah,
very cool. It's very cool.
Got a cool shot of his bike on there.
Oh, even better. Yes, but branding and everything.
Yeah, we should have brought him back.
Exactly.
Yeah,
we should have exactly.
Well, we'll definitely post all the information on when we get on the comment section of our YouTube channel and everything else that we post here. So we love that this model exists and that the opportunity for Alec to do this. I mean, it's really kind of fun.
We'll get you down at the shop.
Yeah,
we would love to do that.
Pete loves ice mochas, by the way. Do you do ice mocha?
Ice mochas.
Nice. Well, that's the menu. It's
Yeah,
expansion. Just for Pete.
This is what he was going for. He was saying, "Are you
special.
adding ice mochas to your menu?" This is a selfish Pete thing, apparently. So
it's all about Pete.
It's all about Pete.
For sure. Yeah, we'd love to do that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you got a lot going on this summer, but I'm sure our viewers are going to want to contact you. So again, why don't you tell how it's the Facebook, Instagram, maybe walk through that, and then your website again one more time for.
So yeah, just spoke.cafe takes you straight there. We also have Instagram, which is just Spoke Mobile Cafe. Any combination of the two, both on Instagram and Facebook. Or also just send us an email at spokemobilecafe@gmail.com. Those are just the best ways to reach us.
Amazing. Well, Alec, Dan, thanks for being out here today.
Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, again, next time that bike better be with you and some coffee and
complimentary coffee and root beer for sure.
Yeah, I would love a root beer float right about now.
It's
I know,
amazing.
it sounds amazing.
I forgot how good they are. It's really good.
You're like a kid again.
Not good for
drinking
my
a root beer.
waistband, but yeah.
Oh, you're preaching to the choir, my friend.
Vegetarian.
You do make vegan. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. Well, thanks again for coming out, guys. A great conversation. Again, we are the Spoken Wheel Podcast. My name is Chris Valadez, and here with me as always,
Peter Janunas. I'm the owner of Gears to You in Riverside.
Like, subscribe, and share with your friends. We have YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everything that you could find us on audio and visual. Go out there and support us and send us a message. If you find something you like or dislike about it, we're here for the comments. So put every comment you can in those videos.
Or if you have ideas for a show, that's how we've gotten a couple future episodes are people that we've gotten suggestions from people from. So it's been great.
Send us a comment, send us a message. We'll be happy to have you on. But thank you everyone for tuning in again. Can't wait to see you on the next episode.